Greetings from Amera Astronomy Club and Jordan Planetarium at the University of Maine. My name is Sean Lotch. I'm the Planetarium Director, and I look forward to sharing some of the beauty and wonder of our universe with you. Well, I hope you're having a wonderful 4th of July weekend and that you get to enjoy some of our nice Maine weather and also get out and take a look up in our night sky as well. Well, this week we're going to be spending most of our time on the sky, but I did have a couple things we wanted to talk about. First and foremost, of course, is that we have an upcoming SLU Star Party at our Universe Explorers Club of Maine. And so if you haven't joined our club, we urge you to go online at our website and sign up for student membership. This will give you the access to the SLU telescopes that we'll be using to do this online star party. You can take images, and of course we're going to be sharing that with you. And our first one coming up on July 10th. We're going to be doing two this month, July 10th and July 24th at 9 p.m. And the great thing about SLU, since there's telescopes both in the Canary Islands and also in Chile, more than likely we'll have clear skies at one of those sites, so I can almost guarantee that the star party will go forth as planned, unlike sometimes our skies here in Maine, which don't always cooperate. Well, getting back to that, we are having a special event coming up this weekend. Well, it's sort of been hyped as special, but I have to say it's really not all that. There is a penumbral eclipse taking place the evening of July 4th and morning of July 5th. Now, a penumbral eclipse means that the moon is passing through the Earth shadow, but not the deepest or umbral shadow, the very lighter outer penumbral shadow. And what this means is that the moon is only going to darken ever so slightly. In fact, this will not even be visible because you can see in the diagram here that the moon is just barely passing through that penumbral portion of the moon shadow, so just grazing it. And so you will need an optical aid to see this, and you might just catch just a slight darkening on the upper edge of the moon. Again, it's going to start around 11:07 p.m. on July 4th, the maximum at 12:30 in the morning on July 5th, and then finish up close to 2 o'clock on July 5th as well. Now, again, this isn't all that spectacular, but if you're an avid stargazer, I would urge you to get out and take a look. And again, you will need minimally binoculars. A telescope probably will help you see it a little bit better. There's a much better penumbral eclipse coming up later this year on November 30th, where the moon will be passing a bit more through the penumbral shadow and we'll get a little bit more of it. So that's probably a better one of the two to be spending your time on. Well, let's go ahead and move now to Stellarium, where we're going to take a look at the night sky and some of the things that are visible here from our area. We're starting our view here in Stellarium around 10:15 tonight, and again, this is July 3rd, our regular Friday evening time slot, and we're hoping that maybe in August we may be able to see some of you again. Keep your fingers crossed, and we are working on it. We'll be making more announcements about this coming up. Well, to take a look at our sky, we're going to start off again, as I mentioned, at 10:15 tonight. You'll notice the moon is sort of over in the south at this time, and also Jupiter and Saturn are visible. Now, a little bit later this month, around mid-month, they're going to both reach opposition, so you'll be hearing about that from us coming up, which means they're visible from sunset to sunrise. But tonight they are going to be visible again by 10:15. Basically, the sky is dark enough to see all the stars. You're through evening twilight, and if you're facing the direction south, you're going to notice a bright reddish star just over to the right of the moon tonight, and that star is the star Antares. So if we bring our pointer here into view, we're going to go ahead and take just a little look there. Antares, that bright reddish star that marks the heart of Scorpius the scorpion. Its head is out here, and its tail comes down below the horizon to its stinger, marked by the star Shaula. Well, the moon is in this area of the sky, and we are nearly at a full moon because, as I mentioned, there is going to be a lunar eclipse, a penumbral one, the evening of the 4th and morning of the 5th. Actually, full moon itself takes place around 12:44 a.m. the morning of July 5th, so just a little bit after midnight is when you'll have a true full moon in the evening sky. Well, I just did want to show you a little bit here with Stellarium. We're going to go ahead and show you how the moon changes from day to day. So if we watch, this is again the sky tonight on the 3rd. But if we move forward to the 4th, we see the moon has moved significantly there. And finally, I'm going to go ahead to the 5th as well. So even if you miss that lunar eclipse, which again is not going to be all that great because it's just passing through just a slight edge of the penumbral shadow, on the evening of the 5th, you're going to have a beautiful full moon between Jupiter and Saturn in the night sky. So 3 very bright objects, the 3 brightest things visible all at one time in the evening sky right now. They're on the evening of the 5th over in the southeastern sky. So do try to check that out. Well, full moon does mean that there's a lot of light in the evening sky, and that's going to make it harder to see the Milky Way and some of the other objects. But we did take a look already at the bright star we said is Antares in the heart of Scorpius the Scorpion, and just right next to it you're going to have Sagittarius the teapot down here. This is sort of the base of the teapot, its spout, the lid, and the handle. Later in the week you can look for the steam of the Milky Way to be rising up out of there. Again, on the evening of 4th and 5th, pretty hard to see because of all that extra moonlight there in your nighttime sky. Well, we'll highlight one of the stars there and bring up the constellation of Scorpius in the evening sky. And we can go on over and also highlight one of the stars in Sagittarius. And there you see the Scorpion and Sagittarius. Again, Scorpius is supposed to be that scorpion that fought a battle with Orion. And Sagittarius, although it looks like a teapot, is supposed to be half horse, half man, firing a bow and arrow, a centaur, if you will. Almost like it's firing an arrow towards the heart of Scorpius the Scorpion. Well, let's take those constellation markers off now, and we're going to sort of shift our perspective here a little bit. In fact, what we're going to do is we're going to come straight up overhead, if you will, from that area of the sky, almost where we're looking straight overhead. And as we do so, we're going to notice the summer triangle there in our sky. In fact, here we have the stars Vega, Deneb, and Altair. Those 3 mark up the summer triangle visible from sunset to sunrise, and we've talked a little bit about them before. Also, if you can find that group of stars, I urge you to take a look for Hercules as well. And Hercules you can really spot by using those stars in the summer triangle. Draw a line from Deneb over here to Vega and sort of just keep going, and eventually you're going to find sort of this keystone shape over here of Hercules there in the nighttime sky. This is sort of the body of Hercules through here, and one leg is sort of coming off this direction, another leg like this, and his arms sort of flailing in that way. So if we mark one of those stars there in Hercules, we can again draw it in, and there you see him in the nighttime sky. And Hercules fought a battle with Leo the lion. If you did get out right at sunset, you might have just caught the very end of Leo sinking into your western sky. Alrighty, well, we have taken a look at that area of the sky. We're going to keep sort of pulling back here a little bit, and we're going to shift a little bit around here until we're facing a bit more of sort of the north, and you can see the Big Dipper over there in our sky right here. Right through there, those 3 stars mark the handle, these 4 mark the bowl, and if we were to sort of use those first 2 stars, we can draw a line up to the star Polaris and then come and find the Little Dipper. So if we go ahead and mark those for you, the Big Dipper, of course, part of Ursa Major there in the night sky, and the Little Dipper is going to be right there, and that is going to be part of, again, Ursa Minor, or the Little Bear there in the night sky. And drawing in those constellations there, you can see those bears with Hercules there in our nighttime sky. Now, lastly, if we sort of turn off these constellation lines, if you will, we're going to keep shifting our view of the sky. I'm going to sort of zoom back here a little bit and sort of rotate north around until it's a bit more underneath us. And we use the Big Dipper to find the North Star. Oops. And we use that sort of area right through here to draw the line to the North Star. If we were to continue going about an equal distance and just drop down a little bit, here's that W shape right there of Queen Cassiopeia in the nighttime sky as well. And Cassiopeia, of course, the mother of Princess Andromeda, who is one of the constellations of the fall season. Have to wait a little while for that, but soon we'll have a chance to see it again in our skies. Well, if we highlight one of those stars in Cassiopeia, again, we can draw in that W shape, or here she is as that queen sort of sitting on her throne there, sort of headed towards the horizon. Now, the constellations, of course, of summer, again, are relatively bright with the summer triangle, with, of course, Scorpius and Sagittarius there in your nighttime sky, and in the north, with, again, having those circumpolar-like constellations like the Big Dipper and Cassiopeia as well. Well, if you pull out here a little bit, we can also use that handle of the Dipper and make an arc over to the bright star Arcturus, which is in Boötes, the herdsman, which we've looked at before as well there in our nighttime sky. If we highlight, again, Arcturus, here we have Boötes, and that sort of looks like an ice cream cone. You might notice that little sort of smiley face right over next to the cone right there, Corona Borealis, there in our sky. If we zoom in a little bit here, we can maybe see that Corona Borealis a little bit better here again. That northern crown, or what looks like a little smiley face if you're thinking of this as an ice cream cone there in your nighttime sky. Well, this has been just a quick 4th of July weekend quick tour of the night sky. We do hope that you'll be able to join us a week from today for our first online star party with SLU, and have a chance to look at some of these objects up close and look for some of the deep sky objects like galaxies, star clusters, nebulae, and even some planets in the night sky as well. Alrighty, well, that's all for this edition. We'll go ahead and finish up. Have a great 4th of July weekend, and we hope to see you in the near future.